The Contra dumbbell row is another little sneaky exercise that I love because you see it and you think, oh, a row, okay, this is for my bicep and my mid back. But then I sneak in some glute work as we go. So this is how it's going to look. It's going to look like your bottom position of a single leg, stiff-legged deadlift. This hip, this glute, is actually doing a lot of work, and you'll see by the time you get to the end of your set. And then it's just a regular row. Let me flip around so you can see the rowing action. So it's just your normal row, squeezing your shoulder blades back, keeping your shoulder down, hips stay level, your leg stays in line with your torso. By the end of the set, you'll really feel this glute working. If you're having trouble with the balance, then just bring a chair or the wall or a weight rack, something that you can just put your fingertips on to help you with the balance so you can get through the exercise, get the benefit of the exercise without just kind of falling all over the place. And then once you get the hang of it, the sense of it, you've done it a few times, you'll be able to do it without holding on, no problem. This is a staggered stance lift, and I'm just using the double rope attachment. You can use straight bar attachment. It changes the exercise slightly, but I actually really like this version. So I'm standing perpendicular to the rope, or to the cable. Both my knees are bent. My foot closest to the cable column is forward, and that's important because now I'm going to be using my hip on this side to stabilize, my lateral hip on this side, and then as I pull, I'm going to be using, so let me just show you. So as I pull, I'm going to be using some of my back extensors on this side, so I'm working a chain that goes right from here up this way, and that's kind of how our body's designed. So we're working on those natural patterns, or those anatomy trains, as Thomas Myers would call them. Really important, my stance is fairly narrow in terms of this way, so I'm not really wide in my feet, because again, I want to have to stabilize. And you'll notice I'm going to keep my knee pointing straight ahead the whole time, and I'm going to stay tall through my torso. So I kind of pull to my shoulder and then push away. I pull to my chest or shoulder height, and then I push away. And you'll notice as I push, I'm not letting that knee fall in or my body lean. But you're going to lie on your back and keep your forearms parallel to one another, about shoulder width apart. And then you're going to reach overhead as far as you can without arching your back and without your hands coming out of parallel or your forearms coming out of parallel. You'll want to point them together. So you really have to pay attention as you reach over, and once you feel like you're starting to arch your back or you're feeling tension in your low back, then that's as far as you should go. That's an active lat stretch. This is a hip flexor stretch with your foot on the wall. So I'm just using an RX pad. Make sure you do use something to cushion your knee, even just a towel roll or a sofa cushion. So my foot's on the wall, my knee's on the mat, my other foot is forward. And then I'm just very slowly going to come up until I feel a stretch either in the front of this hip or the front of the thigh. Let me just quickly switch knees so I can show you a little better. So I want you to feel it either the front of the thigh or the front of the hip. Coming up slowly, about there I start to feel the stretch. So I'm just going to stay in this position. And I can put my hands here if I want to help keep me balanced. But what I don't want to do is crank myself into a tall position, go into an arched back position, and think, oh yeah, there you go, I'm stretching. Because really what I'm doing is stretching into back extension and leaving my hip flexor behind, even though I may feel a stretch there. So just come up, squeezing my bum cheeks, so bringing my hips forward a little bit until I feel that stretch, and then stay in that position. This one a lot in our warm-up, so it'll be familiar to you, but it's your active dorsiflexion. So keeping your heel on the ground, this is the leg we're working on, keep your heel on the ground, make sure your second toe points straight to the wall, and then you're just going to bring that knee as far forward as you can without your heel lifting off. And we'll go kind of over your big toe, bring the knee over your middle toe, then bring the knee over your baby toe. So you're kind of getting 3 different angles. Big toe, middle toe, baby toe. And you probably just feel a little tightness down toward your Achilles. When you do your staggered stance cable chop, I want the foot away from the cable column to be forward. So you're going to pull to sort of your hip level and then push straight out in front of your chest. So it's a pull and a push. My front knee and my back knee are bent, and I don't want any rotation through your torso. So it's not a rotation here, it's just a stabilization, pull, and push. You can complete this exercise with either a bungee or a cable. I'm going to show you with a cable, but basically it's the same setup. You're standing right in line with the line of the cable pull. My knees are bent, my feet are hip width apart. I'm just in a nice athletic ready position. This arm is straight out in front, and I'm bringing my other hand around so that the knuckles of this hand land right smack dab in the middle of this hand. If my knuckles were landing down here on my wrist, it tells me that I'm bending this elbow to shorten the lever to make it easier. I want to keep my torso nice and stable. Think about squeezing the front of my shoulder and my pecs. So yes, it's a pec strengthening exercise, anterior shoulder strengthening exercise, but also it's a terrific dynamic core stabilization exercise. If I wasn't stabilizing effectively through my torso, when I pulled this way, my hips would go that way. For the Contra Arnold dumbbell press, you're going to stand on your left leg if you're holding the dumbbell in your right hand. You'll start with the dumbbell right at eye level, so it's right in front of your face. You'll come out, so your elbow's at 90 degrees. You'll press straight overhead. Come back so that the handle of the dumbbell's level with your eyes, and back around in front, and you're trying to stay tall in your torso, so you don't want to be leaning away at the top. So this one is like our standing wall slide, but way harder. So you're going to sit with your bum at the wall, your shoulder blades, your head touching the wall, and then just cross-legged or with your legs extended. Then you're going to bring your elbows to the wall, rotate up so that you can touch your wrists to the wall without arching your back or anything funny, and then sliding up. So if you can't get your wrists to the wall, then just start with this. But once you can get your wrists to the wall, then you'll do the slide without shrugging your shoulders. This is your rectus femoris stretch with a little glide added in. So this was the rectus femoris stretch that we've started with a long time ago. And now we're going to bring our heel to our bum, but as we bring our heel toward our bum more, we're going to glide forward a little bit. Now I'm not going to glide this way to hyperextend my back. I'm going to just tilt forward as I go. So I'm bringing my heel toward my bum and gliding my body forward as I go. And you should feel a stretch, a really good stretch in the front of the thigh of the knee that's down. That's where we're really trying to target here.